Hello, my friend. In this video, we will go over amending transactions if your pharmacy management system is not integrated with C2P. To do this, I have a couple of transactions here that we can work with. I've got some received transactions, a dispensed, a sold, a lost and stolen, and even a damaged and expired. If you don't have an integration with a pharmacy management system, one thing you're going to know is every transaction has these three dots on the right side of it. If the three dots are still active, that means you can amend the transaction. If the three dots are not active, as in this case, it lets you know you can no longer amend this transaction. Same for this dispense right here, you can no longer amend the transaction. Now, if I click on this dispense, I can look at the transaction trail. So we dispensed it and we amended it. And when we amended it, we returned to stock and we had two witnesses. And from here, this tells me, okay, it's been returned to stock. There's really nothing you can do. The transaction trail ends. And that's why on the front end, you don't have the three dots there because you can no longer amend it. For every other transaction with the three dots, this tells you can still amend it. You can also click to see right here on the side panel an amend button, letting you know you can amend said transaction. So you can do amend this way, take you to the amend screen, and amend this way, take you to the same amend screen. Now, when you're amending transactions, one thing you should know is, depending on whether the user is set as a pharmacy admin or a staff, will determine if that user can amend the transactions by themselves. So for example, in this pharmacy, tester pharmacy cannot amend the transaction manually by themselves. They must tell a witness who is somebody other than themselves. If you are a pharmacy admin or a company admin, then you can amend the transaction by yourself by entering your PIN twice. So let's go ahead and amend this dispensed transaction. So methylphenidate has come in and said, hey, this methylphenidate for 30, I don't want the full 30, I only want 15. You can hit amend. You're always going to want to pick a reason for why you're amending your transactions. This is great as a compliance tool to help you know what you did in the past, especially in the middle of an audit. So we have multiple built-in reasons for why you would be amending a dispensed transaction, including incorrect quantity, return to stock, etc. In this case, methylphenidate only wanted 15 pills. So we're going to put recorded incorrect quantity. Now, the starting on hand is 0. The amended count, which is what you're returning to stock, is the full 30. And so you have available 30 to dispense. In this case, the user or the customer only wanted 15 pills. And so we ask you, what did you intend to record instead of 30? You intended to record 15, and we subtract, and your new on hand should be 15. Hit amend. You'll enter your PIN, and a witness will enter your PIN as well. In this case, I am an admin in this pharmacy, so I enter my PIN twice. And you'll see the transaction trail then for that prescription. And if I can filter for it, 874563. You'll see that we dispensed it this morning for 30. We returned the full 30. And then we dispensed 15, and our on hand is 15. These two previously dispensed transactions can no longer be amended, and so you don't have the amend button. This most recent one can be amended. Because the user could say, okay, I don't want 15, I want 30, I want 45, I want 23 instead. So you can continue to amend this until you return it to stock. That's when the transaction trail ends. But if you click into this dispense, you'll see the transaction trail again, where 30 was originally dispensed. Then it was amended. You can see who did the amend and who witnessed it. So who recorded it and who witnessed it. And then who did the final dispense as well. It's going to have the username right here. And you can see that it was finally dispensed for 15. And so the numbers make sense. You started with 30, you dispensed 30, you had 0, you returned 30, so you had 30 in stock, and then you dispense 15, so you should have 15 in stock. At the same time, I'm going to use the same transaction trail, and we're going to say, okay, methylphenidate, after looking at the maybe price or the brand of methylphenidate that you dispense to them, said that's not the one I want, return everything back to stock. You can now click here again, hit amend. It'll tell you, you're trying to amend account for 15. You can go ahead and return it to stock, and it would change your on hand back to 30. So hit amend and record. Okay, so we hit amend and record. Enter my witness pin again. Okay, and now that's done. The transaction trail ends, and if you click on it, you can see we dispensed 30, we returned 30, we dispensed 15, and then we returned 15. Other amends, let's look at this lost or stolen. Pretty much the same thing. You recorded 50 was lost and stolen, but maybe it wasn't 50. Maybe it was more than 50. So you would do a recorded incorrect quantity. Maybe you found 50, so you would return it to stock. This other option just acts as a return to stock. It returns everything back to stock and lets you enter your own reason. So you can say whatever reason you want to explain why you are amending a transaction. And so if I click on this, I can see that it's returned here. And so my count went from 100 to 50, and then from 50 to 100. And here's my reason. When I pick other, it'll always show there. Okay. The last example I want to show you is a received transaction. So you received this drug from the wholesaler. Well, let's look at this one, for example, where you have 1,500 pills. Now that's probably not too much, but maybe you just want your on hand to be 1,000. So you want to return a 500 count bottle. Since it's a received transaction, you can amend it. And for your reason, you can put returned to wholesaler. Okay, returned to wholesaler. And then you're going to say how much you're returning. What quantity do you intend to return? 500. And it'll update your count as such. Now, what's neat about amending, I'm just going to use this opportunity here, is this transaction date time. And I would encourage you to also watch the extensive video I made about how this works. Is if you know that you actually purchased this on February 2nd, and maybe you returned it on February 2nd but forgot to record it then, you can do that. So you can go to February 2nd. It has to be after you received it. So you would do maybe 9:37, okay, and you set, and we're now returning 500. There, it's totally fine. So we'll return, enter my PIN twice, and you can see it here. This is the received right here. Received, and then a returned 500. So you can see it was returned to the wholesaler. So you should have 1,000 on hand for this drug now. Now, that's how you would handle amending transactions manually. If you have a pharmacy system integration, watch our other video and you'll be able to learn how that works. As always, we really appreciate you using C2Keep, and thank you for watching and learning how to amend transactions manually.